Yes guys, another big giveaway, 100 XRP. All you have to do to enter is press the like button, subscribe, and comment down below your favorite crypto. If we hit 500 likes within 24 hours, we are giving it away live in a video. Alright, having said that, let's get over into the content of today. And to start it off, I want to say, man, are we connecting the dots. It's really been crazy the last couple of days. I've been doing a ton of videos, and that is because I've been really finding a ton of hints, a ton of connections, and a lot of stuff I want to explain. So my channel has kind of gone over from just the realest, newest news to just finding out all the puzzle pieces of what's going on in our economy and really how that affects XRP. Now, I've been researching this a lot, right? I've been doing my very best. However, a lot of this researching has already been done, and actually here, DJ Peter Vass said on Twitter, from 2019, I'll just leave this right here. Happy Friday, everyone. XRP will be the world reserve currency by Mark Phillips. This article right here is actually a small, but really interesting masterpiece. And I'm not going to say that XRP will be the world reserve currency, nor am I trying to say anything along those lines that something will definitely happen, but I want to explore with you guys the possibility of what can make it happen and what's it all about, what does it mean, and all of that. So if you've understood that, let's get into it a little bit. US debt is growing rapidly. Yes, that's something we've been talking about in the latest couple of videos. We've very often been explaining that the US debt is really ramping up. And as you can see here on the US debt clock, if you look it up yourself, you'll also find US debt is the hugest out of them all, and it's really increasing quite heavily. And I would say with a lot of this QE that's going on, yeah, the debt is also not going to get any better, all right? Because all the percentages around the world are going to be changing with a lot of this US QE. Yeah, I think the debt is only going to be ramping up. Now, moving a little bit further, introducing a new world reserve currency. Wikipedia, because I mean, there's so much debt, right? So what could they do? Well, they could announce a new world reserve currency because, first of all, I said the median, or actually mean amount of years is about 95. I don't remember the exact number, and I'm too lazy to look it up. It's either 85, 90, or 95 years median for a world currency. You got to look it up. It's really simple, but I'm just too lazy, honest. Wikipedia describes a reserve currency as currency that is held in significant quantities by governments and institutions as part of their foreign exchange reserves. The reserve currency is commonly used in international transactions, international investments, and all aspects of the global economy. It is often considered a hard currency or safe haven currency. People who live in a country that issues a reserve currency can purchase imports and borrow cross-border more cheaply than people in other nations because they do not need to exchange their currency to do so. And now comes the really interesting part about this article. And again, guys, keep in mind that this might not be my opinion. It's the opinion of what we read. So please don't label me a retard for reading what it says here when you just gotta, process all the thoughts and then make up your opinion afterwards. All right, keep it in mind. XRP is perfectly positioned to serve as a world reserve currency. It can be held in significant quantities to provide liquidity for foreign exchange reserves, international transactions, and investments, and all other uses throughout a global economy. In an earlier article, XRP was designed for 10K, I quoted Ripple Labs' co-founder Arthur Brito, who wrote, XRP must be scalable to accommodate 7.5 billion people. Does it mean that it was designed to be used by every human on the planet and to serve as a world reserve currency? Yes and yes. So that really made me quite interested. Right, that really made me quite interested because what they go on over into a little bit here is if XRP goes to its quote-unquote true value of $10,000 per XRP, it will provide $1 quadrillion in total value. This is enough to easily account for the $244 trillion global debt, as well as $88 trillion global GDP. By its very nature, XRP is highly liquid, with fast transaction and settlement times. It's also inexpensive to use. If it is used as a de facto reserve currency, there is no need to exchange it for fiat currency. though this is also easy to do across multiple currencies and payments networks via the ILP. Now, let me actually go about two things here that we just read. First of all, I'm kind of wondering here, they're saying, of course, 100 billion XP was created, never can there be any more, and it's deflationary in nature. What I'm wondering about here, one part they're forgetting, right? First of all, a lot of XRP is going to be burned, right? Because of, if it were to be the world currency, it would just get smaller and smaller and smaller piece by piece, and it would take hundreds of years for it to deplete, which we covered on the channel before. But still, it's going to go down. Second one is $10,000 per value or per coin is really, really high. And I'm wondering how it's going to get there before this whole situation. Or are they talking about, XRP will become it and then it will rise to 10,000 over time to accommodate for this $1 trillion? And then another question is, why does this $88 trillion global GDP matter? I mean, that it can account for that. Why would that matter? Why would you need it to account for all global GDP? What's the use in that? Maybe what they're saying here is not XRP is going to be a world reserve currency, but XRP is going to be the one world currency, right? Or a world currency where it's just going to be not just global reserve, but really, really everything. And I guess with world reserve here, they just mean world currency, like the currency, one world currency of the world, and not just the reserve currency of the world, if you guys get me there. Because there's a little bit of a difference there where at this point, having a global reserve currency, I mean, it can do a lot, but it's not going to all of a sudden make sure that all things will be done in that currency, if you guys get me. So I think he means world currency in this sense, because that would maybe need this $88 trillion in GDP and really a value this high. But to be the world reserve currency, it doesn't really need that, which is interesting. But all right. So what is the secret that all politicians, non-government organizations, and major financial institutions might have been hiding from us? Well, XRP will be the world reserve currency and it will be used to pay off the debt. And that is actually where I got really, really interested into it this all, because it's some thought that I actually had, thought about, I think once or twice, but never really dove into a little bit deeper. And actually one of the thought that comes with that is right now there's such a crippling debt and they're looking for the best excuses to get rid of it. That's one part, but also to capitalize as much as they can off of it. So I want to think a little bit about this, and actually a little bit of a hop and skip right here, because it's going to go from left to right. What I'm thinking about, right? There's a couple of different scenarios that could have been going on, and a couple of them could also involve XRP. Most of them don't, but all right. One of them is that this whole pandemic that we're seeing right now, it was all made up for a couple of reasons. Again, that depends on your views, but it could be to really make sure that people stay inside. So some shady stuff could be done. That's one thing. But let's keep that real conspiracy stuff for the back end. Let's keep that. What could have been done is, what happens is a lot of businesses are going to be failing. And once a lot of businesses, quote unquote, fail, right, you kind of as a government have the chance to print a freaking ton of money, right? Because, you want to, quote unquote, help those companies. So really what you're doing then is, first of all, showing the power of your central authority, the Federal Reserve, by being able to print so much money and helping all these businesses out. As a president, you're showing, I care for businesses. Look what I'm doing. I'm helping by spending so much money on it. And also, you most likely are able to help out your brothers. And with brothers here, I'm trying to say your bank bros or whatever high up guys with their plans, to fund their companies even more. Maybe they don't even need it, but you could just fund them more and put some money in because, who knows what they're doing, right? I mean, there's a lot of regulators looking at this every single day because this is, a lot of money we're talking about, so they know exactly where it's going to go to. However, how do you know something is fraudulent when, everything's decided and regulated by the top piece? If you guys get me right there. That's one thought to think about. Another one is, I guess, completely the opposite. They didn't really want this. The whole debt is like the biggest issue, and now they're like, fritch, how are we going to get rid of this, right? What are we going to do? And they're like, we only have a couple of options because all of a sudden it's going to be falling. This whole governmental, the whole Fed is going to be falling. So you know what? First of all, we're going to make sure no people can unite. And that's, again, a couple of these riots that we've been seeing. That's, again, a choice for you to make, not mine. You could see it as, they're trying to divide the people so they can never come as one to, do something crazy. Or you can see just, people want everybody to be equal. And for that is what these riots are here for. It's kind of a double thing. I'm not going to put out my own opinion on that one. just because I think it's a little bit controversial. But again, following that theory, it could also be that they're doing that just because, or just so people won't be able to revolt or do something crazy against the system, even though they're printing a huge amount of money. And there's this debt that they might want to pay off with XRP is going to be that way. And how will they pay off with XRP? Well, that also depends on exactly what type of strategy they will deploy and what type of connections they could get with Ripple. So one of the things I just saw somebody say over on Twitter was, what if Ripple becomes a bank? And actually that thought was something I had actually never even considered. What could happen if Ripple were to become a bank? Well, if Ripple were to become a bank, this whole theory of XRP becoming the world currency would be very simple. However, the big problem is, what country would the bank be licensed in? Would it be a US bank? Then the whole plan falls apart. Would it be a Chinese bank? The whole plan falls apart, and so forth and so on. So Ripple would have to be entitled in its own nation or something like that, which can't really go on. So basically, Ripple becoming a bank is not an option. However, if they were to do it in the US, it would make a lot of this US debt that they're trying to clear a lot simpler, because they can just think of some strategies to get rich, both of them, right? And that's something. And Alex Cobb says their clients would see them as competition. I think for XRP and for the whole Ripple system, how they are seeing it right now, it would be one of the worst things they could ever do, because, well, they're losing all their trust and all their independence and all of that. So they will definitely not become a bank. Another person in the comment section said PolySign is the bank, which of course is working with Ripple, which is something I'm thinking about a lot as well, because I guess the connections are there. Now, to kind of conclude what we just said, XRP to become a world currency could be good for a couple of reasons. A part of that is to pay off the US debt. It could be so. However, there would be a lot of complications with getting to that point, as I'm like, well, even if XRP were to become the world currency, still about 60% is owned by Ripple. So how's that going to be done? Right? A lot of that money is going to be used for XP ecosystem, but are we just going to assume that Ripple's just going to get it out of escrow and then transfer it over to different companies, or what are they going to do with it now that XP might be so successful? Or are we going to be only using, for example, 50% of the supply and the other rest we'll just ignore for right now? What's the idea with it all? What are we thinking about? What do we think is going to be the way for that? I'm just really wondering exactly what you guys think. Because I'm not too sure about all of that. I'm not too sure. However, what we do know is that if XRP were to be implemented, it will be huge. And the thought is there, But I'm just being real with you guys, man. I show everything exactly how I see it. And in this case here, I'm seeing it as if it will be a lot of trouble. It will be very difficult. And it will be very strange to pull off. SEC-wise, I think it would all work. So regulatory-wise, I think it would all work out. I'm just wondering how they would get that many coins, and really, who's going to get what type of coins? How is it all going to be decided? Is it all going to be over exchanges then? Because right now these are issued by the Fed. Who's going to regulate all these coins? Is it going to be Ripple, or is there another entity for all of that? It's just some stuff that I really need to look into further to be able to get a better opinion across. But that's just some food for thought if you were thinking about XRP becoming the new world reserve currency or one world currency. Some stuff that is kind of difficult to really put into place. However, again, think about it. Ripple and all this stuff, 10,000 per XRP is far away into the future, right? It's stuff you need to think about, because, well, if it does, you're going to be rich as shit. Everybody's going to be. All the 0.1% investors like you and I are going to be rich as shit, all right? $10,000 per coin, all right? My giveaways are always like 100 XRP or so. You think about that for a little split second, my guys. 100 XRP times 10,000. That's just a quick milli right there that I'm giving away. So think about me like a freaking demigod or semigod, whatever. I'm giving away millions of dollars here for free, right? So better go to the floor and kiss me, kiss my feet. Millions of dollars I'm giving away potentially if this whole theory works out. Just think about that as well, right? Right. Having said that, though, let's move on a little bit to what else I have. First of all, XRP closes the monthly candle with highest close since October 2019. Well, I just told you guys earlier that XRP has been doing extraordinarily good, really passing and soaring past 25 cents. And in my opinion, they allowed themselves a whole new breakthrough in the crypto space right now by doing that. Now, one of the things they proved wrong is all the people who said XRP can't do shit and XP is a stablecoin. Well, in 24 hours, it changed 7%. Which is actually really crazy. And if you look over the 90 days, Yeah, in my opinion, it really doesn't look like a stable coin whatsoever. Lowest point 17.6 or so cents. Highest point I would say is right now at about 25. You can't really tell me that is stable at all. Over the month, it has gone up 46%. Over the week, 26%. Yeah. And also this year, I think, at least looking at this, that the bearish trend we've been seeing for quite a good amount of months here, it's going to be over, all right? It's really looking like it's going to be over. November here. From November on forward, it's just been downhill, at least a downtrend. Now we've finally broken that. Yeah, I'm really expecting a lot of good things, and I'm really happy for it. And actually, I'm not the only one who's thinking about that. I'm not the only one who knows. The billionaires, the big players, they know about it too. All right, a little bit earlier today, I showed you guys these investors now hold between 240 and 2.4 mil in XRP each, which has contributed to upwards pressure on the price. After a fairly unsurprising few months, XRP has seen a price rise of over 30% from 19 to 25 cents in a fortnight. At least 30 big investors with deep pockets believe the price rise is set to continue. And looking at this chart here, you can see over the shortest amount of time here, we changed from, let's say, for example, I don't know, 830 to about 850 in the upper section here. You can see the amount of price as well for XRP and how much it has changed in such a short amount of time. Really insane, really crazy, really cool to see this. But yeah, the billionaires, the big guys have been accumulating as well. And then guys, don't forget about this one right here, by the way. Changes to XRP Ledger, here's what they'll do. Oh, I have it open twice by accident. Ripple-backed startup proposing major changes to XRP Ledger. Here's what they'll do. And again, we're talking about, of course, XRPL Labs. And the developers are calling the potential amendment hooks. The hook code, which will be open source in the future, would allow logic to be executed before and or after the XRP Ledger transactions. The startup states, these hooks can be made really simple, like reject payments under 10 XRP, or for all outgoing payments, send 10% to my savings accounts, or more advanced, by allowing hooks to not only execute efficient logic, but also to store small, simple data objects. One could define a hook like, for incoming payment transactions, check if the sending account is in a list maintained by another hook, and if presents, reject a transaction. Which could be really positive for a lot of these scams, right? Also, it could be a lot really positive for KYC, which is of course one of the big hurdles when getting institutional investors in and all of that. But loyalty points, whatever. I personally think that it's going to be really important for scams, where it's just going to be so interesting to, I guess, get all these bells going on when something happens that has to do with the scam in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's again something for the future. It's an amendment that I don't think has even been processed, right? Or has it already been put out? I don't really know. It's just something for the future. I'm really excited to see what's going to bring. But guys, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Take care and have a very nice day.